After countless complaints about the lack of originality and impact in the new Minecraft updates, Snapshot 24W-33-A from version 1.21 was released with innovations so relevant that they could destroy one of the biggest sagas ever recorded within the game. In busca da casa automática, Mojang decided to get back to work and is bringing bags into the game. Improved Minecarts 2.0, which can make extreme roller coasters and particle accelerators. And also, including a remastering of Redstone, which can basically bring Vinicius 13 and all the red dust enthusiasts to their knees. Well, we already know that the series In Search of the Automatic House is totally based on Redstone, but the idea of updates specifically focused on Redstone never really scared anyone because they were usually developed from the introduction of new blocks. For example, version 1.21 introduced the Automatic Workbench, essentially the T-Crafter, a new block set to revolutionize Redstone without altering existing game systems. The thing is, in this specific snapshot, many Redstone mechanics that have been around for literally 10 years, are probably going to undergo some changes. But yeah, strangely Mojang has been bringing more interesting updates lately, so are they afraid of some other game? Maybe afraid of Hytale? Anyway, let's dive deep and check all of this out, including, of course, Redstone and Vinicius 13. First of all, we'll have bundles. Those pouches are back. And no, don't worry, I'm not talking about that blonde who's stringing you along. But yeah, it's really those little pouches, an experience introduced back in 2020 in the Java edition, and for a while it even seemed like they were forgotten. The community even complained that Mojang wasn't keeping up with the updates, and yeah, out of nowhere, they're back again to be tested. If you want to try bundles, create a new world with the bundle experiment enabled. Click More, then Experiments, and activate bundles when setting up the world. But in short, this item could be the answer to our prayers for the inventory to be updated. Since the game's release, Minecraft has added hundreds of new items, but the inventory space has always stayed pretty much the same. With that, this new pouch is an item that lets you stack different blocks or items together in the same inventory slot, just like you would with a backpack, for example. In this way, it's similar to the shulker box, but much easier to obtain. Its main advantage is exactly the ability to combine several types of items into a single stack, which saves a lot of inventory space because normally carrying just one type of block would already take up an entire slot. I liked how interactive the item's interface is. When you hover over it, its contents instantly appear. And from what it seems, if there are up to 8 different types of items inside it, you'll be able to see them all immediately in a very practical and convenient way, and you can even take out the item you want in a very quick way using your mouse wheel or the keys on your keyboard. A YouTuber named Pontero has already made a really cool video demonstrating how it works in practice, so I suggest you take a look.
I can put a mix of stackable stuff in here, blocks, items, right? So it could be 9 pieces of meat, which I think is actually steak. I can put 6 dirt blocks and I can put a specific amount of gold blocks here. In total, the bundle holds 64, right? If I want to select an item from inside here, I can use the mouse scroll. If I'm not mistaken, I can use the number keys, right? The first slot is gold blocks, the second is dirt. The third one will be for meat, and to remove it, I right click with the mouse and I can bring the bundle to the item or bring the item to the bundle and click here with the left mouse button. Cool, right? If we want, we can come here and right click. It'll discard everything.
To craft a bundle, you just need 1 string and leather, making this item very accessible, which is the most important detail for me. It's not a drastic update to the inventory yet, but it's a big improvement at least. And now let's talk about one of the most fun things in this update, the minecarts. Mojang's idea was to update several elements about minecarts so that we would also start considering them as a viable means of transportation again, instead of the more well-known ones nowadays, which would be the elytra with rockets and horses. Because of that, the minecarts got several updates. Since this is a snapshot, these changes are optional and meant to gather public feedback to decide if they'll be permanent. That said, from now on, minecarts handle movement better when they're at high speed, staying more stable on the tracks all the time. They can also make turns more smoothly, which reduces the chance of sudden stops or derailment. Other than that, now the minecarts have the ability to jump, keeping their vertical momentum when the track ends, and they can go farther depending on their speed before the jump instead of just falling straight down like they did before. You have no idea how many ideas the community created overnight because of this. Jumping off a ramp in a radical way is already cool, but people have taken it further. I'll show you soon. First, note there's a new accessibility setting that lets players follow the minecart's rotation while inside. And this seems like it's going to be amazing for roller coaster builders, because now players will be able to have the experience, the immersion of moving in the minecart as if it were real life, also making it possible to create 360 videos with those virtual reality glasses and so on. The sad part, unfortunately, is for those people who suffer from motion sickness, which is basically sickness caused by motion, those folks who feel sick in first-person games because there's a lot of action and movement. And if by any chance someone watching has motion sickness, leave a comment here because I'm curious. And now, getting to the best part about minecarts, a new rule was introduced in the game called Minecart Max Speed, which can be set with a command block and allows you to change the maximum speed of minecarts. The default value is 8, but it can be adjusted up to a maximum of 1000 blocks per second, which is associated with the new boost function and will turn this game into complete chaos. Just imagine putting TNT minecarts in this system. We'll finally have some real cannons. It's worth remembering that setting a specific speed doesn't guarantee that the minecart will reach that speed because there are natural air resistances and other factors like sloped rails or powered rails that affect acceleration. In other words, we're getting closer and closer to Minecraft with realistic physics, and soon Pedro Lois or Sergio Sacani will be able to build a particle accelerator inside the game. People on Twitter went wild over this, trying experiments and building massive things. In Minecraft, your imagination is the only limit. That said, if you want to safely buy the original game to use skins and not risk getting a virus, click somewhere on this video because the channel sells official gift cards that you redeem directly on Microsoft's official website, all safely and reliably. If you have any questions, go to imini.shop. But anyway, besides all that, now it's no longer possible to put a minecart inside another one, whether by the player or using a dispenser. Minecarts can now be placed consistently side by side along the track, making it a bit more realistic, as we've already mentioned about the physics, and these improvements at first make using minecarts smoother and more versatile, enhancing the experience both for exploration and for building transportation systems in the game. However, nevertheless, and on the other hand, this snapshot also brought bad news, especially for a man named Vinicius13. As much as these changes might motivate Vinicius13 to create the craziest machines on the planet, he might have to redesign the entire En Busca de Casa Automatica map first. Why? Well, because of the updates to redstone usage. First of all, the performance, that is, the distance redstone wires can carry a signal, has been improved, which reduces the performance impact on more complex builds and the need for multiple repeaters. So far so good. I actually thought that was great, but the thing is, now redstone wires only power blocks that can receive energy directly. In practice, this means that redstone wire running next to a piston, for example, no longer activates it, and that's fine. In terms of organization, this will help a lot. The problem is, what about the builds that already exist? Man, it's really tough. A lot of builds were made based on this side activation method for items. If the public responds well and the update occurs, what happens to systems that depended on this feature? How many episodes or I don't know how many years will it take for Vinicius to fix all of this? And more importantly, is it even possible to fix all of this? Because man, imagine you have to take, for example, an episode counter, a calculator, and you have to look for specific points where the redstone broke your farm. Honestly, I think it's better for you to just destroy everything and start over from scratch. So with that said, Vinicius13 just got another 300 episodes looking for the automated house. And the thing is, that's not even the only problem. The update order around redstone wires was also changed to ensure they work consistently regardless of their position or orientation in the world. Alright, I know it sounds like I was speaking Greek, but in practice this means that when a line of wires is powered by a lever, for example, the wires closest to the power source will trigger the first updates to the surrounding blocks. In the same way, when a line of wires is turned off, the updates start from the wires closest to where the power source was. So, what used to be random is now under a logic that will completely change the game.
Provide the update before the one over there so that you get this behavior, but if the lever was in a different position, then it's the one on the other side that gets powered. And if you have one in the middle, well, it gets powered at random, but that's not like a predefined random.
Then you ask me, what if both wires are the same distance from the source? Well, as we just saw, what determines it is randomness. The thing is, to sum it up, this randomness wouldn't always go from left to right or from right to left. Each time you activate or reactivate the system, it will act differently and randomly, creating unpredictable sequences. And if you want to understand all of this even better, just watch Pedro Lois explaining quantum mechanics through Minecraft when he basically predicted this update before it even existed.
But now let's go to a practical example. All these pistons are connected to the same redstone source. And in theory, they will all activate at the same time, since there is no delay differentiating their redstone signals. But that's just a standard player's perspective in Minecraft. What actually happens in the background is completely different. To notice something, let's do the tug-of-war experiment. In this position, only one of the pistons is forced to move. So the first piston to be activated is the one that will actually move. Then we click here. It was the first piston. But now, let's change the point where the signal is triggered. Now, by clicking on the other side, it's the last piston that moves. This might seem obvious, thinking that the piston closest to the redstone activation moves first. But this happens because of background events in the game ticks, even if they don't follow the standard redstone logic pattern.
In other words, what the game basically did was to make official the redstone logic that Pedro mentioned. All these changes aim to make the use of redstone more predictable and efficient, meeting the needs of both players who prefer simple creations and enthusiasts who build complex mechanisms in the game, according to Mojang. But what about existing constructions? Does this mean the end of the automatic house? Is the Pinus Vinicius 13 community already racking their brains over that possibility? On August 15th, the user Pano Coco, which by the way is quite a name, retweeted an announcement about the redstone updates with the following comment: "Is this going to end the automatic house map?" And this tweet reached thousands of people. User Realzazinho commented, "Vinicius literally got content to keep the series going for another 3 years. And well, from that point of view, maybe the destruction is actually a good thing. As Thanos would say, hard choices require strong determination, so if you're into that girl, don't send her a message because she's going to turn you down." The son of Vinicius 13 might inherit the automatic house map. Also, is it true the series might get a new name now that everyone is talking about repairs? From now on, is the series going to be called Fixing the Automatic House? That's mean, guys, don't joke about that. One of the big names in the club just left. But yeah, while some joke and others get desperate, there are people who still hope that things can be fixed. The user NexusArt raised a hypothesis. "I think the idea is very good. You can make a lot of good systems using this idea, but it really will destroy a bunch of systems." Anyway, a solution I haven't seen anyone mention, but I believe is likely to be done, is to enable these changes in the world creation menu. So, just like with PvP, where there's PvP before 1.9 and PvP after 1.9, maybe there will be pre-1.22 redstone and post-1.22 redstone, but that's it. Enough of overthinking. Let's watch Vinicius 13 talking about one of the best farms in Minecraft that still haven't been made and maybe never will be, but if someday someone figures it out, it's there. Here's the thing, today we're going to make the mega farm, my dream farm, which is the farm of you.
Here's the thing, today we're going to make the mega farm, my dream farm, which is the Booch farm.